Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Weymouth After Dark, the talk show for Massachusetts and the world. I am glad to have you joining us this week. I am Frank, your host, and I am joined, of course, to my left by Joe.
Hi, everybody. I'd have been here sooner, but I was at home watching Ironsides. You know what I mean?
Watching Ironsides?
Yeah, I love that show. Seriously. It took me 15 episodes to realize I wasn't just watching Perry Mason. I wonder why he was in a wheelchair.
In any case, folks, we have a very special feature for you today, a very special treat. You are going to be witnessing the very first Weymouth After Dark political forum tonight. Do you know where the power lies? Do you know who pulls the strings? Well, it starts and it ends with you. And power creates a vacuum, folks, as you know this. And even if you are...
Whoever said that?
Even if you are very justifiably jaded about what's going on in this world, if you don't fill that vacuum, somebody else is going to do it instead and do a worse job. So today we have a citizen who is going to be directly confronting an elected official live today on Weymouth After Dark in just a little while. Now, there used to be a saying that all politics is local, but now perhaps all politics is global. And there's some people that say if one voice can change a room, then a room can change a city, and a city can change a country, and a country can change the world, and the world can change Weymouth. So you just hang on and see what happens today on Weymouth After Dark.
Tonight.
Last week, we were joined by Big John Pitroff. He talked about living in the woods for 5 years. Joe and I tried it, as you can see. I only lasted 4 days, folks. He was watching Ironsides in the woods. That's not very natural. Anyway.
Would have been better if I watched Grizzly Adams or something.
I don't think it's still on TV.
Yeah,
Oh, really? I don't know if we got the reception out in Wampatuck.
Maybe it's delayed by the time you get out there, and that's why I was watching Grizzly Adams or something.
Folks, I'm going to surrender the floor right now to Joe, who has a very special presentation that he'd like to share with us today. Joe, we were talking today about power. Yeah. And knowledge is power. Education is key.
And so is toothpaste.
And I pass it over to you.
Thank you. You know, because as I've said before, I think the children are the future. You know, if you teach them well, let them lead the way. And probably the most precious resource we have in this country besides toothpaste. But so I'm thinking about the kids. You think about the kids. You think about when you was a kid. You think about the cartoons. You think about the video games. And you probably think of the whole high school thing. You know, they say, hey man, what you're going to do after high school. But sometimes the important thing is what are you doing during high school? And if you're like us, you know, you were probably just, you know, playing Mortal Kombat the whole time. Street Fighter 2s, you know. Nowadays the kids are into the Twilights, the cutting themselves, the text messaging, you know. But you know what I think? I think kids would enjoy school more if they had better mascots. Because let's face it, most of them are, you know, lame.
So you're saying that you think that for all the different competing theories about what would improve education, you're saying that mascots might yield results as far as improved school attendance, education,
in San Francisco,
learning.
In San Francisco, or San Diego, they had the chicken, you know, from the Padres games, go around all the schools, and you know, SAT scores went up at every school the chicken went to. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm thinking is better. So that I see definitely a connection between mascots and SAT scores and making school more enjoyable anyway. You know, making school cool. You know, cool school, not a ghoul school. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I'm offering my services to the scholastic world to improve school mascotage.
So those of us who do not have the benefit of the chicken. Need these mascots. Exactly. What do you have for us today?
Well, what I was thinking is, you know, I've analyzed the problem using the science of mascotology, and I've realized that most school mascots, which are in general lame, fall into 4 categories. Okay, they're either animal, an Indian, Native American, a pirate, or a Spartan. And I don't know about you, but that's, you know, kind of cliche. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm offering my services, as I said, to the scholastic world to come up with some better mascots. And we can address these problems one by one, beginning with the question of the animals. You know? See, the problem, folks, with the animal mascots is it's all too often mammals of the order Carnivora. You know, lions, tigers, bears. Oh my, how cliche, okay? And the solution to this, as the solution to all the problems, is to mix it up, you know? Why does it have to be a vertebrate, you know? How about, something from the order cephalopoda? You know what I'm saying? Why does it have to be extant animals? All right? How about something extinct?
That's the Mansfield Gorgonopsians.
Yes. A Permian proto-mammal. In fact,
Right.
why does it have to be an animal that's ever existed at all? I think this one will be big with like the goth kids that are in the Lords of the Rings and all this.
And
Twilights.
when the football team's doing poorly, all the basilisk needs to do is look at the opposing team
And
they
turn them
to
to stone. Exactly. That's a stone cold defense on that team.
That's what I heard. Kids getting stoned. Over
Exactly. Reminds me of East Boston High. Better that than them getting pregnant, I guess, though. Anyway,
Moving along.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing is, folks, when it comes to the animals, remember what those lovable little animals the Muppet Babies used to say. Use your imagination, mix it up. You know what I'm saying? Enough of this stuff with the mammals, all right? In fact, you know what they really should do is have a school that uses bacteria. The heck with the animal kingdom, okay? Let's go with its own order of life, bacteria. That would be a mascot for today. Or this one from Arthropoda.
Sometimes I think the bacteria just look at us and they say, look at these fretful, poorly surviving, overly warlike people that think they run the world. And you know what I say to them?
Yeah.
Get off me, freeloader. Over to you, Joe.
Exactly. Yeah, we're all just scabs to bacteria. You know what I'm saying? All right. So moving from the animals to
Thankfully.
To another aspect of nature, as it were, the Native Americans. Okay. Now, the problem of the Native American, the Indian mascots, is they're kind of cliche. Once again, Apaches, Navajos, all these tribes people have heard of. Mix it up. Variety. Okay. Let's try some more obscure tribes. Lummi. Okay, Yavapai or Hakawi. You know what I'm talking about. So that's Native Americans there. Okay, pirates. The next category, pirates. Okay.
Right.
I mean, now pirates are
four
pretty
categories.
vogue these days. You have that whole thing, Pirates of the Caribbean. Jack Arrow fights Captain Octopus and all of this. Okay, but remember, as that wallpaper that we used to have said, variety is the spice of life. So let's mix it up. Again, mix it up. Let's use other types of lovable criminals. Racketeers, for example, gun runners. There's all kinds of sort of heroic outlaws out there you can use besides pirates. You know what I'm saying?
The Medford Racketeers.
Yeah, exactly. That's not even a football team, folks.
Yeah, it's a little lacrosse team.
That one's big on the North Shore, yeah.
What else do you have
Yeah,
for
yeah,
us?
what was it? That's the issue of pirates, and there's the issue of Spartans, okay?
Sure.
Folks, there were other types of Greeks besides Spartans, And to be honest with you, I don't really remember the original Spartans playing lacrosse that much anyway, Mix it up, okay? Let's try other types of Greeks. Thebans, for example, or even Halicarnassians,
The North Attleboro.
Halicarnassians, yeah.
That's going to be hard to fit onto a jersey. It's going to be continued on 2 or
Just
3
use
lines.
the H, or Greek letter for that matter.
Okay.
But I digress, folks.
What do you got for Weymouth? This is.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
What city-states are left?
Oh,
What do
we'll
you
get
have
to
for
that.
us?
We'll get to that because there are a few special cases with the mascots. A few that fall outside the categories. The most infamous is probably right near Weymouth here in Abington, where they have the green wave. Okay, probably the only school mascot based off of nautical dynamics. Okay, the heck with anthropomorphized, anthropomorphized liquid motion. Let's go with something more contemporary, more today. How about something like the Gorn from Star Trek? Something the kids are really into these days, That'd be for today,
That costume is
Enough
probably
with the green wave.
somewhere.
Now it's the Gorn. You know what I'm saying? He'd be great at football games. You have William Shatner there. He could chase them all over the field. You know what I'm saying? Catholic schools, another special case, okay? Why do Catholic schools have their own football league? So that they're not laughed off the field with those terrible names and mascots they have, friars, saints, okay? How about something more apropos? How about something like the Inquisition? You know what I mean? Or my personal favorite when it comes to Catholic schools, I think the one that sums Catholic schooling up, the White Flight. Instead of the Green Wave.
Quite a team.
Now, so folks, when it comes to the mascots, use variety, Mix it up, you know? There's all kinds of local things you can do. Just use your imagination. Who needs the Plymouth Pilgrims or something like that? You could have the Plymouth 24-hour Walmarts, you know? You could have the Morrissey Boulevard giant gas tanks, okay? You could have the East Boston 40-foot Madonnas, you know what I'm saying? And for Weymouth, okay, the thing I have that sums up Weymouth, the new mascot that I have for Weymouth, Big John, the all-night worker at the Cumbies.
But he's from Rockland.
Well, it's not a perfect science yet. But,
Thank you, Joe.
yeah.
Thank you for sharing those thoughts with us. Thank you
To
for
share is to care, you know?
Thank you for doing your part.
Thank you for Hulkamania.
Folks, life is shorter than we think. And if only students, young people, I won't call them children, young adults, knew the value of their education and the bearing it has on them later in life, maybe they'd make their decisions differently.
Yeah.
And hopefully in some way, the Gorgonopsian will help.
Yeah, except probably with the Permian mass extinction.
He learned
issue.
from his mistakes. He's not
Yeah.
even still around.
Oh, and I just want to say to all the high school kids out there, hold on to 16 as long as you can. Changes come around, make us women and men. You know?
Thank you, Joe. Folks, that was very enlightening and informative. But now, the feature that you look forward to each week.
Going home?
No, the next episode. No, the Weymouth After Dark poll. That special poll where we compare two entities and you decide. Voting at Weymouth After Dark at hotmail.com. This week, in this very folder, two entities. Vote at Weymouth After Dark at hotmail.com. Bye-bye.
Want me to hold it? Let's get the
Versus-
close-up on Mr. Popeye if we can.
His opponent,
Blow me down.
John the Baptist. Vote at Weymouth After Dark at hotmail.com. Popeye versus John the Baptist. We will count each vote. We will register each vote. Vote on which one of these two entities you prefer. Later in the program, we will take you to those results. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, I really don't think Popeye has the gravitas he once did.
We'll find out, won't we? We shall see. It will be put to the test. He will be weighed in the scales and found wanting. But before that, folks, we have a special feature for you. A first-time feature on Weymouth After Dark. A very special political forum. In moments, we will be transported to a symposium with a representative from the elected powers and a representative from the electing powers. So very quickly, grab that beverage, finish those ramen noodles, and join us in seconds for a special Weymouth After Dark political forum.
It'll be more instructive and educational.
Welcome back, folks. As I mentioned, we are here, you're privileged to a very special political forum. Weymouth After Dark is brought to you by The Truth, and we are attempting right now to extract that truth and bring transparency to government, to power, to the electoral process. So I'm joined by two very special guests in our very first Weymouth After Dark political forum. Joining Joe and myself on the left, we have Schlomo Kennedy, City Councilor.
There. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Shlomo.
It's a pleasure. May I shake your hand,
Yeah,
sir?
thank
All right,
you.
very good. May I just start out? I know you need to introduce this fellow, but I want to tell you personally how much my family and I have enjoyed your television program over the years. You're welcome. My mother wished me to express an invitation to you. We're having a Get Well Bender this weekend for my Uncle Teddy, and we would love it if you boys would come down. However, I must warn you, you must bring your own booze. We run out. Thank you.
Thank you. Well,
Yeah.
you can't. We do appreciate the offer, but we are, of course, unbiased and uninfluenced. Though we appreciate your hospitality. Joining me on the right,
Yeah, from the
representing the
Captain's
citizens, Jason, who is the founder of the the organization City Officials Must Inform Everyone.
Air boo, air boo.
I don't know what this air boo is all about. I'll tell you a little bit about COMI, City Officials Must Inform Everyone. We are pushing the agenda of complete transparency in government. And I'd like to start today, get right into this with council member here. Because in the 312 days since you've taken office, I have not been able to get a hold of you. I have called you at least once, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. I've written your office many letters. In the 312 days since you've taken office, by my count, you've only been in office 18 days. And I'd like to know about your whereabouts during the other 296 days.
Schlomo?
Well, as I'm sure you know, I know the boys here do. I suffer from a rare follicle condition that keeps me out very often. As a matter of fact, the only thing that seems to help is freshly mowed grass and sand, which is why you'll often find me somewhere near or on a golf course. But I have been there for certain legislative parties and cake eatings, like this right here. Thank you very much. Next question, please.
Jason?
Your qualifications. I'd like to talk about your qualifications or lack thereof. During your campaign, you pushed the fact that you were the Poughkeepsie peanut eating champion, and I don't understand how that qualifies you to lead the people of my city.
Well, as you know, I've been partially retired since I was 6, so it's afforded me a great deal of time to meet with my constituents and find out what their needs are. Next question.
Jason?
That is absolutely laughable, but I'm not laughing. I'm not amused with your destruction of my office, my city official, as a city official. You know, you've pushed some really odd laws, some laws that I don't think really need the attention of the legislation, like a mandatory recycling of toenails and fingernails by all Weymouth residents.
Now, I must take exception with you on this. I know most of my constituents are not familiar with this issue, and I find it callous. When you think of all those poor boys and girls that can't afford their own toenails and fingernails, and I'm told this is quite a problem, so I cannot believe that you've taken such a stance on this. Next question.
Well, no, if I, let's...
Is this like some kind of keratin harvesting scheme or something?
Hold on. Let's try to keep an air of civility to the proceedings. I'm going to turn it back over to Jason. He's got some more questions for you. Representative of many residents of Weymouth who put you in office.
Now, Frank, I must also say that I was promised there would not be any actual questions today. So,
who told you that?
My mother.
Over to you, Jason.
During your campaign, you often addressed the sinkholes on Drew Ave and Rose Street. Those sinkholes have been there for 3 years, 2 years before you took office and the 312 days since, and they remain unfixed and unattended. What do you have to say to that, Councilman?
Now, I am glad that you brought up this very issue. Now, my first days in office, I was actually the one to push for a study to be done, and turns